you should ask this question to yourself, that why do you want to get into this field? Like, do you have like in data science, you will very frequently you will work on new problems. So do you like solving new problems, or do you like a bit of mathematics or getting insights out of raw data? So that interest is important, because money is one thing, but the important thing is that if you want to sustain in the industry, you should love your job. Then you should be very clear in your mind, like, are you going to love what you are working on? So that is very important, right? So I would suggest that, as freshers, if you really want to stand out of the crowd, then you should, along with these courses, certifications, and your knowledge, you should try to focus on certain projects, right? Try to do some open source contribution or build some project. Like, it should not be like something very unique, but it should be something useful, right? Maybe someone else has worked on it, someone else has already built that, but you should have knowledge of how that thing works, right? So that would help you to stand out of the crowd, and also try to, apart from just learning these things, right, machine learning and data science and everything, apart from the theory, you should also focus on the engineering aspect of the things as well, right?
So how you just
True.
recommend someone to start learn data science? For example, take me as an example. So I don't know anything. I don't know programming. I'm completely from non-IT background, and I just want to get into data science field. Either it can be data analyst, scientist, machine learning engineer, whatever it may be. I just want to get into that field. So how you just
True.
recommend me to learn? How you can just guide me to get into that path? So yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to this new podcast episode. And today we just have Akshay with us. And Akshay is a senior data scientist working at TomTom. So let's get into quick introduction to Akshay. So Akshay, welcome to this podcast, and thank you for giving your time to guide beginners for just starting with data science, and also share your experience with us. And thank you for joining us. So can you just introduce yourself to the audience who are just watching? And yeah, let's start with an intro.
Yeah, thank you, Sumanth. So first of all, thank you for inviting me over, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. So myself, Akshay, and I work as a data scientist at TomTom. So I have around 6 years of experience now, if I count my internship as well. And before that, I have done my graduation and master's from BITS Pilani campus. And so basically, it was a 5-year integrated course where I did my engineering in electrical electronics engineering, and there was a master's in mathematics. So it was an integrated course that started in 2012, and then ended up, and so I graduated out of my college in 2017. So during my experience of around 6 years, I have been working with mainly with problems related to classical machine learning, computer vision, and deep learning as well. And since I've been part of during both my experiences, I've been part of a map making company. So we had opportunities to work with reinforcement learning as well as graph neural networks as well. So that's about the things that I worked on so far. And during these 6 years, I have had the opportunity to be inventor of 3 patents. So one of them is already granted in USA, and other 2 are also in public knowledge. So that's about me. And lately, I have been creating content on Twitter as well. So there, I just try to share my journey uh, around data science and machine learning, and also try to share tutorials to simplify things around programming and machine learning.
Yeah, that's cool, Akshay. That's a really cool intro. And folks who are just watching this video, you can just follow Akshay on Twitter as well. I just give the links in the description below. You can just check out, and you can just follow Akshay on Twitter as well. And he's just creating some awesome content. You are just graduated from BITS Pilani, and you just chosen electrical and electronics engineering. So how you just transition from there to data science? So what's that complete journey?
Right. Okay. So one thing was that I never thought of, like, I was not sure of going into data science when I started my college, right? So fortunately, I had this second degree, which was master's in mathematics. So that definitely helped me to build a strong foundation in mathematics. So that was a great help. But yeah, I definitely never realized that until I moved into industry that I'll be able to apply all this knowledge into some actual work as well, right? So I think it was in my final year, and all thanks to my college. So I got this amazing internship at Here Technologies, and so at that time, so it was back in 2016 July, and Here was actually acquired by a consortium of Audi, BMW, and Daimler, right? And fortunately, I also got a great mentor to work with. So there, we worked on a certain project, and we were working for one of our prime customer, which was BMW. So the project involved a lot of image processing as well as deep learning. So and back in 2016, these things like deep learning and these things were relatively new in India, right?
Yeah,
So you can say I was fortunate to get this early opportunity to work in this domain, and also got support from great mentors. So that's how my journey started into ML, and and it immediately caught my attention and interest, and yeah, now it's been 6 years.
that's cool. And yeah, like you just got an internship, right? At Hair
Correct,
Technologies.
correct.
So can you just share your story, like
True, true.
how you get that opportunity? Is it like you just applied through some portals, or let's say any other thing
Right,
that
right.
you just followed?
Okay. So it's an interesting story. So actually, in my case, I was fortunate and it was pretty easy for me because so since I was you can say in a good college, so it was very easy for me to get that internship, right? So we had these companies coming to our college, and we just need to apply for all these. Like we had to, uh, fill a preference list. That's how I got into internship. But having said that, like it might not be the case for everyone, right? So I would suggest that as freshers, if you really want to stand out of the crowd, then you should, along with these courses, certifications, and your knowledge, you should try to focus on certain projects, right? Try to do some open source contribution or build some project. Like it should not be like something very unique, but it should be something useful, right? Maybe
Yeah,
someone else has worked on it, someone else has already built that, but you should have knowledge of how that thing works, right? So that would help you to stand out of the crowd, and also try to apart from just learning these things, right, machine learning and data science and everything, apart from the theory, you should also focus on the engineering aspect of the things as well, right? That how are you able to create a valuable service or application out of certain model that you train and everything, right? So that would definitely help you stand out of the crowd. So you should try to build a strong portfolio by doing some good projects. It should not be necessarily it should not be necessarily unique, but it should be useful. So the idea is to build a strong portfolio, and then what you can do is you can share these things on Twitter, on LinkedIn, because people who are already part of organization and recruiters do take a look at these things, and when they find something which is useful and that too built by a college fresher, they get really impressed, because I
yeah,
have seen that. I have seen my co-workers, and even I myself have seen some very cool things that are done by freshers just graduating out of college. So that is a very impressive thing. If you're able to do that, then you will catch a lot of attention from the industry. So that is something that would really help you stand out.
yeah. That's really useful for the freshers who are just looking for internships. And also, thanks for sharing that views, Akshay. And how you just started learning data science? Like, is it some courses, or let's say, is it any books, tutorials, or like even now we used to get, like
Right, right.
even I used to get a lot of messages, like DMs, or let's even on the comments I used to get, like, what are some best courses, what are some best books to learn, what are some best YouTube channels, or let's say videos to learn data science or machine learning. So how you just started learning data science? So yeah, you can just share that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's actually a very valid question. So, like I already mentioned, that my journey into data science started in like when I started my internship. Before that, I definitely had programming experience, but I had not done any formal course, on machine learning or data science. So although I had done a course on image processing back in my college, But apart from that, I did not have any formal certification or course that was related to machine learning. Then I was given a certain problem, right? But then, and to in order to solve that problem, I had to learn a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, so basically, we were trying to build a system which we called as natural guidance, and the objective. I would not go into details of the objective, but the point was to to basically make an algorithm that understands what all things were present in an image, right? So there we had to apply deep learning, and I do not have any experience of working with that deep learning and machine learning as well. So I started with these two courses back then. So one was this Andrew Ng's course on Coursera, right? So that was something that really helped me a lot. And another thing was, if you know, there was this course, machine learning course by Stanford University, and it was
Yeah.
taught by Andre Karpathy. So back then he was doing his PhD in at Stanford. Andre Karpathy and Feifei Li, and if you know, these are people associated with ImageNet as well.
Yeah.
So they had, they had this course basically available to everyone on YouTube. So that was also a great help to me. So definitely back then there were not a lot of resources. So but right now, if you see, you would easily get a lot of courses as well as great books as well. So yeah, so that's how I started. So while working on a problem, wherever I face some difficulty, I try to see that, okay, this is something that I don't know. So you can say I was smart enough to Google those things in the right way, and go at a right place to learn about it, and then apply it at my work. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I would suggest that it really helps you pick up a problem, right? And then try to solve it. And during that journey of solving it, you go step by step. Okay, I don't know this particular thing as of now. I'll try to learn it, and then the next day I try to apply it at my work. So that's
Yeah.
how I started into machine learning.
Yeah, that's really important point, like the reverse engineering part. Like instead of starting it from scratch,
Exactly.
you can just start it. You can just take a project. You can just like you can look into what are the things that you just required, what are the tools that you just required to build that project, and you can just start learning that.
Correct.
Then if you just miss any part, or let's say if you just want to learn any other tool, you can just then you can just learn and you can just uh, complete it, or let's say you can just continue that. So that's important point, Akshay, and thanks you.
Right. Right.
Very useful
Right.
point. So how you just
True. True.
recommend someone to start learn data science? For example, take me as an example. So I don't know
Hmm.
anything. I don't know programming. I'm completely from non-IT background, and I just want to get into
Hmm.
data science field. Either it can be data analyst, scientist, machine learning engineer, whatever it may be. I just want to get into that field. So how you just
True. True.
recommend me to learn? How you can just guide me to get into that path? So yeah.
True. True. So first of all, one thing is programming, right? So whether you want to be a data scientist, you want to be a software engineer, or you want to be a machine learning engineer. So in your day-to-day work, programming and doing actual some hands-on coding is going to be an important aspect of your day-to-day work, right? So first of all, I would suggest someone just starting and who does not have a background in like coding or ML, then you should get better at programming. You should take a good course and finish it end to end. So usually, since Python is like, is the language that has been chosen for everyone, like most of us who are working with data science, are working with Python only. So for that, I suggest this course, which is CS50 by Harvard University. It is taught by David Jamalan. So he has been teaching CS50 for a lot of years now, but recently he created this course CS50P, which is specific to Python. So if you're new to programming, then you should definitely check that out and properly finish that course, because programming is important. If you are
Yeah.
not able to code, you won't be able to, do anything with certain theoretical knowledge that you have.
True.
And then once you are good at programming, I think, like you already mentioned in the question, that there are hundreds of courses for every single thing that you are trying to learn. So you should be smart enough to cut through this noise, right? So you should so if you already know that a certain course or a certain book has a good feedback, right? So you should pick it up without thinking twice. You just try to finish it end to end. So just finish what you start. So that's about the courses. So it's very difficult to rank, okay, this is the best course or this is not so good. So if something has a very good public feedback, right, everyone is going to teach you ML. So you just pick something up and finish it. So that's my advice to someone starting the journey.
Yeah, that's really important. And when it comes to data science, someone who is just like a non-IT background, who don't have any background in programming, so they can just start with Python. And as you mentioned, there are a
Definitely.
lot of videos, courses available, and they can just pick that and
Mhm.
they can continue their journey. So yeah, that's really cool, Akshay. And you have been working as a data scientist for 6 years, right? If I'm not wrong.
6 years. So basically, it's been 5 year, 5 years in this July. And
Okay, cool.
if I count my experience, like the time that I have been involved working with machine learning, so you can say it's been 6 years.
Okay, like you have been into this 6 years, and also you're just working currently at TomTom, which is a product-based company, and you can just like you have that experience. You will be seeing a lot of candidates who are just applying for job. So, for example, let's say I am the candidate who are just looking a job opportunity at TomTom. So I'm just giving you a resume to you, like you are just checking my resume. So what are the things that you just
Mhm.
go through that resume? Like what are the things that you just look into that, and what set apart from the rest of the resume? So how to stand out from others when it comes to creating
Right.
resume and mentioning that resume, like the projects which you just done, or let's say the experience that you have in your resume. So yeah, can you just share that from your experience?
Right, right. So great question, Sumanth, first of all. So I'll talk about applying specific to TomTom or maybe to any other company which is offering a data science job. So data science field has matured now, right? So apart from your knowledge, theoretical knowledge on building models and everything, people are also looking if you're able to create an end-to-end service out of it or not. So if you are able to work on something, then also create business value out of it or not. So for that, the recruiters and the companies are also looking for strong engineering foundations, also your experience on ML ops and certain platforms where you can deploy these models and everything. So that is something that must be mentioned in your resume if you want to stand out. And apart from that, that's about the resume part. And then for any company that you're applying to, you should try to like look into that what kind of work they are doing, right? So you should definitely have a knowledge of kind of the projects or the problem that the company is trying to solve. So accordingly, you should try to tune in your resume, right? You should put in projects that are that might be relevant to the kind of problem that the company is trying to solve.
Yeah.
So that will also help you out. Apart from that, there is definitely some coding rounds wherein you would have to do some hands-on programming, and then they'll see uh, uh, how exactly you perform in that. And usually, TomTom gives you a take-home assignment where they give you a problem statement and then ask you to uh, make an end-to-end solution. You can also try to basically, if once you have basically, if you're trained a model, then you can also try to talk about how exactly you are going to deploy it and everything.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes. And then there are certain technical rounds which are like, we already know that the kind of things that would be
Yeah.
asked in that.
Yeah, that's really cool, Akshay, and really important to tweak your resume based upon the domain that the particular company is working. Like, for example, let's say you just applying for any company which is in sports domain. It would be good to mention or do some relevant projects which is which is relevant to that field. So yeah, that's really important point that you just mentioned.
Right, right. And one small thing I
Yeah,
would like to add here is like today, like we get overwhelmed with working with machine learning and data science, and sometimes we forget the importance of engineering, right? So that should
true.
not be ignored. So end of the day, when you are working for an enterprise, uh, so it does not matter that how hard a problem that you are trying to solve or what state of the art algorithm that you are using to solve it. The point is whether you are able to create a value out of it or not. So basically, your organization or your company would uh, definitely it would give you time to do experimentation and everything. But finally, what matters is whether you are able to create a business value out of something or not. So for that, having strong engineering fundamentals, knowledge of machine learning operations becomes very important, and it is highly valued as well.
True, valid points, Akshay, and I completely agree with that. I just want to ask you one final question. Like, you have something to share with the audience who just listening, like who just watching this video. Like, from your experience of 5 years working in some data science field, so what advice you can just give? What something like what you can just share with the audience, like who are just getting into this data science field?
Sure. Right. So first of all, you should make this thing clear that you are uh, don't just get on the bandwagon because everyone is trying to get into the field, right? You should ask this question to yourself that why do you want to get into this field? Like, do you have like in data science, you will very frequently you will work on new problems. So do you like solving new problems? Or do you like a bit of mathematics or getting insights out of raw data? So that interest is important because money is one thing, but the important thing is that if you want to sustain in the industry, you should love your job. Then you should be very clear in your mind, like, are you going to love what you are working on? So that is very important, right? Because otherwise, things, you might get saturated, you won't like your work and all those things. So you should be very clear about it. And then once you get started, you need to be patient as well, right? So good things take time, right? So if you are stuck at something, then don't get worried or disheartened that I'm not able to solve this problem, because every complex thing, it's simple once you understand it. So you just need to be patient with yourself, and you just need to stay with the problem a bit longer. So that is the only advice that I'm going to give to anyone, like a beginner or anyone who is working in data science. So along with that, since you are going to work in a field which is cognitively demanding, you are going to work with new challenges and problems every day, right? So it is very interesting and as well, and you would not get bored. But along with this, it's also important that you take care of your health as well, right? So since you are going to uh, uh, you if you want to sustain in the field, and if you really like to enjoy your work, you should also take care of your health, because a healthy mind would only reside inside a healthy body. So that's very important thing, right? So these are the things, or these are some of the advices that I would give to anyone, any programmer or anyone who is working in the industry. So I hope that it helps you out. It certainly has helped me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Akshay. Like, it will be really helpful for someone who's just getting into data science. And the one point that you just mentioned, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Like that's really important. That the point that you just mentioned. So really,
True.
really valuable conversation, Akshay, with you. It's been fun discussing with you. Like, even I just learned a lot from this podcast, and even I hope the audience
Same.
will have got value from this podcast. And yeah, like, really thank you for being here. Thank you for giving your time for the podcast. And I hope we can just do such kind of amazing things, like the more kind of collabs. We can just do some live streams for like building some projects, building some, like giving some advice, or like we can just plan it in the future as
Sure,
well.
sure. Good.
Like, it's
Great.
been really amazing discussing with you. I hope to connect with you in the future as well. So yeah, thank you for being here, actually.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sumant. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And yeah, so I've been interacting with you over Twitter for quite some time now, but it's always great to have this, one-on-one chat. And yeah, so I also learn a lot while interacting with you all. And let's hope that it's also helps out the community as well.
Yeah.